Whether you think MMORPGs are dead or thriving, there is no dispute there is a lot of them. Some have closed, with small privately hosted servers carrying them into present day, while others are striving to create some sort of new experience to hold on to whatever remains of their player base. The question is, what is wrong with the MMORPG formula that has led them to being seen as dead or dying? And how will the MMOs of tomorrow combat the burnout of the genre? Hell if I know. But I do want to analyze the MMOs currently in rotation, or at least in rotation for me. I've created a somewhat reasonable list of current day MMORPGs, or at least major MMOs that have had effects on the landscape as a whole. Now, we all know multiplayer is in the name of the genre, so I've forcibly recruited my friend Sean, or Sokka, to help provide a fresh perspective, as he's rarely, if ever, played a single MMO. Without further ado, this is Endgame content. All right. So we just finished Trove. Great game. Time to
Yeah,
time.
perfect 5 out of 7.
Yeah, perfect, great, perfect, good. All right, let's. Next one. It's gonna be a lot of fun. This
Big
one's
money,
gonna be
big money,
great. This one's gonna be great.
big money,
This is
big money.
okay. We go from like probably Sean's most hated to one of his most interesting ones.
Oh, I'm
Um,
going to be insufferable about that. I hope you're aware. I'm going to be
I mean,
insufferable about this.
I'm more than ready for this. I don't I don't have any
You are going to hear
predilections.
so much about Smash Gal and Esfinir. You're gonna
Oh,
hate
that's
my
really cool.
guts.
I did that in my book. All right,
We'll
here we
drive
go.
down to your fucking house and shoot you.
Here we go, boys. Let's fucking get it. Wait. You could have characters that are just basically other characters. So there's this really long opening cutscene that's blurred out behind me. It has all of your favorite stuff. Nobody kills the bats but me. Most powerful character ever loses to Shrek Rocks. Lex Luthor beats Superman off, only for Brainiac to show up and remind Lex that the heroes didn't form the Justice League for him. They formed it for like greater threats, and there are bigger fish in the sea. Future Lex comes back to present-ish DC area and gives the world more superhumans to fight, aka us, and we're fighting the current slash future Brainiac that's here now. That's the exposition at the beginning, but honestly, I'm only interested in talking about the character creation that comes next. Personality. Oh, yo, Flirty is hilarious. The lean. Alright, Sean and I rolled a die to decide whether we'd be heroes or villains, which came of villains. We then found out that the character customization was littered with some classic 2004 jank gold. I could be a wolf. It looks so bad. It looks so bad. Sean, it looks terrible. It looks like they
Right, and it does.
it looks like they just copped a fucking like 3D model off of like Tumblr and just imported it in their game. Oh my god. Demonic? I like that I don't have to pay money for these because these would be a fucking scam. We immediately meet the wall of microtransactions, preventing access to various powers. To be completely honest, I don't even really think that paying for powers is a crazy concept, but the powers really didn't intrigue me. The only interest I had briefly was how complex it said the powers were, because I was interested to see what the most complex power set would have to juggle to continue to maintain effectiveness, and if it was even worth the trouble at all. While the max complexity was very high, the highest you could access while maintaining free-to-play status was simply high, which we'll have to do. Go back. How much is 600 coins? $10?
That's
Ah.
really expensive.
For one power, it's $10? Oh my god, there's so many hairstyles. I hope they don't hit each other too. Oh, oh, yes, I found it. Oh, I like the name they suggested. Jungkook, June Cook's Tenrej. Mmm, that's tempting to be June Cook's Tenrej. Uh, yeah, this is fine. This game is bad. All right, I just wanted to find like Video. Ah, video. Wait, there's a voice chat in this game? Peak. Already. Best game. Best game. This is where I found a gem that I thought would make this game a top 10 banger for me. Proximity voice chat. Now, most MMOs don't have their own built-in voice chat, and if they do, it is usually some poor quality garbage that they just threw together at the last minute. This was the first major disappointment for me as well, because you guessed it, this feature is pay-gated behind a subscription service. $15 a month. And we just started the game.
Look, they were thinking very future, very, very smart. You know, we pay to chat in all of our games because it's not like there's going to be a convenient PC add-on or program like, I don't know, something that would cause discord in the ability to speak in the future.
All right. I can punch multiple goons at once. That's good. That means that when we have to complete a quest to kill multiple goons, I can hit many goons at once.
God, I'm so bored.
You're having fun, Sean. Shut up. Yo, I'm blasting them with my little okay, so here, first positive of this game, I actually think that like the particle effects of using moves is very good.
Yeah.
Like when I'm shooting my hand lasers, there's like a lot of like particles to it. When I'm using my move, there's like a cool beam that I shoot out. It looks cool to use these moves. Yo, my guy's just fucking grooving. My guy feels like he has AirPods on. You might have noticed this black resolution error around the screen that I've been struggling to fix. This was not an editing error and is in fact a flaw in the game's resolution settings and the way it interacts with OBS's recording software. Not optimal. Will it be fixed? Will I continue to have recording issues with these archaic games and their terrible graphics options? Who knows? So if you hit F4, there's a menu that shows up that can't be accessed through any other method and can't be found through any other way. One, I can change the loot stuff. Listen, if we thought Trove had a bad UI, oh boy, this game is the king of actually hidden menus. I'm talking vital menus hidden under random buttons on your keyboard. Maybe on console this is bearable, but on PC, there's no guide, no note, nothing telling you where this menu is, and it's how you add friends and group together. I had to dig through the dregs of the internet, aka a 5-year-old Reddit post about it, that on top of the multiple tabs buried in other tabs in the regular menus, and then even more so, the absolutely insane number of currencies you need to juggle, and even more so on top of that, the quest tracking system that somehow is the most dated part of this whole fucking shenanigan problem, it makes for a... I had to research just how to open the menu that lets me play with my friends. Experience, which loses at some points. Okay, my heals for virtually nothing. By this point, you get the drill. Join dungeon, kill random goons. Kill them! They're citizens, Sean! Your favorite enemy! Solve arbitrary puzzle, sometimes fight a boss you recognize, repeat. There are also some overworld quests in between these dungeons, but most of them are just generic enemies copy and pasted all over major cities that make sense for whoever they are. On the plus side, the overworlds didn't feel empty because of it. We were constantly running through problems that had nothing to do with our own, which, while it did slow us down a bit, as getting into combat sort of slows your movement speed, it gives the overworld a sort of lived-in feel that you're looking for in MMO real estate. Speaking of real estate, there's a whole layer system that I barely explored because it looked very in-depth. Good addition for some, but for my purposes, mostly pointless. Also, there's this. Defeating a boss in an on-duty mission causes their rewards to lock for a short period of time. Use replay badges available for purchase in the marketplace to reset the lock and gain rewards faster.
I'll have to look at my missions in a moment. I'm
going?
busy doing another race because the races are probably like one of the more interesting elements of the game.
This is admittedly a petty side note from Sean that he largely never brought up again, but let's take a look at the racing, right? Let's really break down Sean's opinion. the whole racing bit aside, Sean and I wrapped up after about 4 hours of play and felt sort of empty. There's a lot of flair and a lot of opportunities to spend money, but like, a lot of the powers were uninspired. I mean, atomic and celestial sounds neat in theory, but when in-game, all the lanterns are squished into one light power, and the rest really aren't that visually different from the free ones, we had a low start is all I'm saying. Sean had written this off as sort of a good in theory, bad when squished in an MMO sort of idea. But I was optimistic. There were so many tabs of menus that were empty. Surely one of those menu tabs has to be something cool and interesting, right? Probably? I don't know. In the interim between my play sessions with Sean, I made a hero and managed to get it to max level. So here's a bit about what my research dug up about the later game grind loop. We're gonna have to reposition, reevaluate, and reassess our goals. First of all, there is an ungodly amount of dungeons in this game. There is almost zero chance we are going to get to every single one of them. There are so many. Like, I'm talking more than 80 dungeons. So, probably not that. But after we hit max level, there's going to be a swap in sort of what we're doing, where we start to do duties. And what I do think we should try and do, also, as soon as you get to level 30, you can immediately, the game lets you like sort of force jump your way into current content. It will set your power rating when you're in the new areas to like 332, which isn't great, but it'll be playable. What I think we should do is I think we should try and our goal, get to max level. I'll walk you through some of the grinding you would have to do, like how you would go about it, because I think that's important. But it's mainly because most of the grinding here is on a daily lockout. We would have to play every day for a certain amount of time to get to where we would want to be, right? Which is just like
time for this.
Yeah, but the thing is like if you were playing this for fun and you like just enjoyed it and you were just doing cool stuff, that would be fine, right? Like you just play, you do a dungeon every day.
If I actively had a lobotomy, yes, this would be better. But I don't have a lobotomy, so
this game is much more tolerable because like the dungeon that you do every day is at least shorter. We'll actually do one here. We'll move into it in a second, but after this, we proceeded to do one of the grinding options that is locked daily: stabilizer fragment dungeons. 15 of these fragments makes a stabilizer, which opens various different loot boxes. You get about 5 of these stabilizer fragments per day, meaning that every 3 days you open a loot box. The loot boxes can give anything from cosmetics to one of the 200 different currencies that are used for a lot of different things in this game. Now, this is only one of the grinding angles of the game. There's feats, quarks, coins from all sorts of different places, and a ton more I'm sure I missed. Here's some highlights from the second session. My partner in crime, literally.
Yeah, I'll take partner in crime. I'm less cool with sidekick specifically.
Why is that, Sean? You don't feel like sidekicks get very much respect?
I think I'm stuck. You as a boss.
I got this one.
I think your sidekick help your boss. He's stuck. Never mind. I probably
backup.
That's why I'm the main hero and you're the sidekick.
Man down.
Yeah, Richard. All right. It's a lot in this game.
Villain.
Yeah.
You go no further.
Donna Troy? Who's that?
It is Wonder Girl. Yeah, she's a Themysciran. She's Wonder Woman's sidekick.
Wait, what?
I don't actually know a lot about her.
I can't.
Other than apparently she's a bitch. Like, Jesus, this is easy.
I can't. So because you went in there before I got there, I can't go in.
Sometimes I wonder why I stay in this stinking, polluted city. The Falcones, Bane, Two-Face, Mad Hatter, that Hush freak, Killer Croc, Catwoman, not to mention the Joker. There's too much competition. But I'm a businessman, and I smell opportunity. So when this little gang war blows the lid off Gotham, Penguin's gonna have a nice little umbrella for when it
if we do the
starts
watch party
raining
next week,
blood.
They've been fighting Bane villains, dealing with Bane the whole time. What do you give me a guess as to what you think the end cutscene was for the dungeon where you beat Bane?
At a guess,
Just a guess. Just take this.
I would guess like it would be something to do with how Batman wants to crack down on the release of Venom because it harms everybody involved. But that doesn't sound like it's going to be correct. That's what I would put there. Or because you're playing the heroic playthrough.
Yeah. Right? That's what you think, right? That's what you think you beat Bane, and then no, what you get is a monologue from Penguin about how there are too many villains in Gotham City.
That's random as fuck. I mean, there are too many
purely
villains
out of
in Gotham.
nowhere. Also, side note here, the end of his cutscene, the subtitle, he starts laughing, and the subtitles there says quacking intensifies.
Quacking it. Okay, so first of all, quacking intensifies. Amazing subtitle.
That is
Perfect subtitle. 10 out of 10.
There were a lot of discussions about things like multiple cutscenes that didn't really align with what we did in the dungeon, yada yada yada. But what was more problematic was the time to level drop in the 20s to 30s. I know the way we are doing MMOs is largely incorrect, but if most of your content is past level 30, then why are you forcing someone to push through the content that comes before that at such a slow grind? You could be getting them to a more fun, enjoyable experience even faster. That being said, after about a 6-hour session, we hit max level, and it was time for the name of the series once again, Endgame content. We're here, max level, and we're ready to take on some of the newest content. There were two sort of current events to choose from. Harley Quinn versus Apocalypse, and John Constantine messing with magical stuff. We chose to spend more time with the Harley Quinn side of things, as it looked a bit more visually appealing than the snowy castle that was the other zone. Here is where I think this game is the absolute strongest. The game has some difficult enemies that, while I felt they weren't labeled to show the difference in difficulty very well, they required us to work together. The footage behind me is a group of heroes and villains fighting a world boss, Brimstone, and it was a legitimately fun experience. Running around this twisted version of Gotham while helping a bunch of different heroes/anti-heroes, all while earning this area's currency, Coney coins, was fun. The main complaint I had was with my healer role that I swapped to try it out a bit more in these more difficult areas. You see, due to the targeting system of this game sort of being non-existent, I couldn't heal a specific person, nor could I heal anyone that wasn't in specifically my group. I know this is a minor gripe, but like, as a healer, I want to keep everyone up. Everyone who's helping me. My whole thing is to keep them topped up. And having no option to heal anyone but Sean was disappointing. This is also where the game opens up like a fine red wine. You get access to tons of episodes, which are basically just like comic books that you can interact with and have like a sort of self-insert in. The UI buries these experiences a little bit in different teleporters that aren't super clear where they go, but the content is there and it is fun. That's all I've got for the endgame, really, so let's move to the scores. So first, potential. What do you think? What do you think about the potential of this game, Sean?
I think this is where we're probably going to disagree. I don't really know what your opinion is necessarily. I think that this game had a lot of potential. I would give this a 3 out of 5. The heroes and villains aspect to it could have gone somewhere if it was a little bit better thought through and a little bit more considered.
I'm like so tempted to give this game like a fucking 5. This game could have been so good. Like I can see with my eyes how easy this. I don't know. I know it's got to be a 4 out of 5. I give Trove a 4 out of 5, and I think Trove arguably is like easier to fix than this game. So comics as a medium is so tappable and they've gotten so close. Like, there are all these episodes and these clearly like these well thought out storylines, but they're buried under the worst UI I've ever seen in my life, right? Like, if you just open this game up, make it more visually understandable about how you get to different aspects of the game, the fact that when you talk to a merchant, and there is a currency that they require, you are not capable of like hovering over that and knowing what currency it is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
Like,
there are a bunch of like little tweaks you could make to infinitely.
and just like, there's so much content here, just make it accessible. Let me play your game. Let me do it. I want to play. It's what I want to do. Let's move on to gameplay loop.
I think that I'm still having the issue that I'm not the right audience for MMOs. I give this gameplay loop a 2 out of 10. It
2 out of 5.
gets really repetitive really fast for me. I think that some of the concepts are interesting, but I don't know that they're particularly well done. And in the limited experience that I had with WoW and FF14, I thought that the quests were better designed and more interesting, like from a gameplay standpoint.
I'd give this gameplay loop a 3. We gave Trova 1 because it was 2 buttons. In this game, I have 6 buttons. So mathematically, it deserves at least double the score. That being said,
Thinking about it,
go ahead.
can I change my 2 or 3? Because I wasn't thinking about the builds, I was thinking about the quests. I do think that like your customizability and the like mishmash of different parts that you can put together do elevate this game significantly.
Yeah, we can, like, gameplay loop is, gameplay loop is partially, like, the do 3 quests, and then do a dungeon, and then move on. But I think the bigger part of it is, like, what are you doing every time you fight something, right? Like, what is the button loop there, and is it interesting, is it fun to do? I think that...
I did have to think about it.
Yeah, I think that, largely, I think that there's more build diversity here, at least a little bit. I think that things are interesting. I don't like that the healer doesn't have a targeting system and it just sort of heals the lowest health party member or, everyone or 3 people closest to you. It feels sort of ambiguous, but that was just for healing. When I tanked, I really liked the idea that, like, I was a shield tank as Frost. I would block a lot of damage. I wasn't really there as anything else. I wasn't doing any other sort of thing. I was mostly just eating damage that was reduced because of my passives and stuff. Yeah, and then I think there was at least some variability to what you could choose to do. It didn't feel like there was 6 buttons that were just obnoxiously stronger than all the other buttons, so therefore there was no other reason to push the other ones. I felt like it was sort of interchangeable, and at least there was some sort of choice. There's probably a meta that I don't know anything about, but,
Yeah.
that's every game.
I think that as a controller, it's a lot of fun because CC is, well, not CC, it wasn't crowd control necessarily, single target control, but I thought being able to like just float people up and beat the hell out of them is a lot of fun. It's a good experience. It feels good.
Yeah, my Frost guy had a lot of CC to him too. He had a lot of like, his main thing was grouping characters, and I actually think that that's really cool. I think that a lot of MMOs have a struggle where they sort of make every single enemy you fight a one-on-one. World of Warcraft, especially Final Fantasy 14, somewhat to some degree, where like everything you fight is like it's you versus this other thing, and you're pushing one button over and over again, and it's sort of how it works. I think that this game sort of really supported grouping enemies, CCing them to a great degree, and doing a lot of AoE damage in that respect. Let's move on to visuals, Sean. This is a controversial category. So what do you think about the visuals of this game?
I'm gonna give it. I'm stuck between a 3 and a 4 because I genuinely like the style aspect of it. I think that you can really customize your character. I think you can get your hero or villain to look like approximately what you want them to look like. There is a menu where you can just buy more styles. You can waste all of your in-game currency. I did not spend a dime, and I have a ton of styles. I was constantly editing through it. I also think that like the visuals of the world. I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5. I think that like the world looks pretty good for the era that we're in. It looks filled out. Things just feel not real, but like that simulacra of real that comic books are going for. And I like that you can really customize the look of your character.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this for graphics, for visuals. For me, I'm going like a big 2 on this. There are a lot of really cool styles in this game. I feel like as I'm going through right now, I have multiple styles that are quote unquote unlocked that require me to put a badge into them, replay badges, to unlock them. I think that is fucking egregious. I think that is terrible. I think that is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't know why there are things that I have to spend real money on that are cosmetics that, technically speaking, I've already unlocked, and I just now have to re-unlock them, sort of? I don't know. I think that the moves look sick. Like, when I shoot my fucking beams, I think that's actually pretty cool, and then I summon this cool little fucking thing, and I got an eyeball, and this shit's sick, yo. I just think that's pretty cool. Not only that, but the character creation of this fucking game is a nightmare.
Oh, God, yes.
It is so ugly, and Sean is sort of, I think, forgetting how bad that was.
I did. I absolutely did. You're completely correct. The character creator was a nightmare.
It's so
because nothing
bad.
was explained. Everything was in 1,000 nested menus.
And
Oh God. Okay. The UI alone. I'm changing my opinion again. 3 out of 5 because the UI is fucking awful.
Yeah.
The UI is dreadful, and it easily drops everything for me.
Yeah, and also and for visuals, a lot of these outfits do not mix and match. I mean, you can see right here, this doesn't work. Half of it's military, and then there's a demonic set. So basically, your choices are sort of look disjointed, at least a little bit. I'm sure there are some sets that roughly link into each other, at least to some degree, but you're either forced to fill out a full set or just sort of look a little weird. And I don't know, man. I have cool high heels, so it gets a 2 out of 5. All right, Sean, let's move on to world building.
This might be a little complicated for me because I think that the fact that this is borrowing from pre-existing media that has been well established means they have a shortcut. So I'm not going to give them as much as I think I was going to when I first started playing the game. Intrinsically, this is all based on the DC universe. The DC universe has a lot to it already. I mentioned, I think during the first session, that I found a billboard for an extant fast food restaurant that I hadn't heard of. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I thought about it. I'm like, first of all, this isn't the one that I'm used to, because Big Belly Burger's the one that I'm used to, not this Boppo Burgers or whatever. Also, if it exists, it was created by a comic books writer and just imported here. So I'm going to give this very soft 3. It does well with what it's meshing together. I get to see what they're doing. I think that for them... Actually, no, I'm going to give it a 2 because I hate the way that villains and heroes interact with each other in the world, and I think that part of the world building falls very flat. I think that the way that they do a lot of the cutscenes is very random and
we didn't even touch the cutscenes and visuals.
We didn't, because I think that they look
visually
good.
they're fine. Yeah.
I think that the way that they're meshed into the world is kind of dog. It's just bad. You will get a cutscene that might tie directly into the dungeon that you just finished, and it'll make a lot of sense. Or you could get the Penguin just randomly talking about crime after you complete a Bane mission. And I'm just in here that had nothing to do with anything. What the fuck are you talking? I'm going to give this a 2 out of 10 because I think that it could have done, again, in potential, it could have been better, but it isn't, and it kind of sucks.
I'll say this. I'm giving this a 3 out of 5, and it's for one crucial reason, and I think it's just a thing that I experienced that you didn't. I played a little bit more on my hero character. I spent a lot more time sort of trying to explore the other episode content, and I think the other episode content works much better than the base content, which is a majority of the game that Sean has played. Most of what we played thus far has been the leveling up throughout the various tier 1 dungeons, basically. and playing through those. And those, the cutscenes are very disjointed. I will say that, like, weirdly, like, as a crossover for visuals here, the later dungeons don't seem to have cutscenes at the end of them at all, which is like a good and a bad, because usually they still have some sort of story exposition. We just finished one where the opening to the Apocalypse era stuff, where Harley Quinn is just like being very weird and like not really as witty as I feel like she would normally be, and it's partially due to like the weird visuals in front of you because they're just character models moving instead of like an actual cutscene.
I think a part of that is that they were literally trying to do new mouth flaps, which doesn't exist in the early game content, but they were trying in the Apocalypse mission, and it looked kind of grody.
Maybe. I don't know, but the other ones were done in like a very comic book style, which I feel like fit the theme better. I feel like it would have been cooler to just have like a comic book. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the comic better.
But as far as like the world building, like the other episodes are cool. Like they establish a very good like world system to it. You know what I mean? Outside of just the comic books, they have sort of their own system of doing things, their own way of storytelling, because they all have to link back to being this centralized sort of system, which it works a lot better when you push into those episodes. Again, it's hard to find them. It's difficult to get to those episodes, and it's hard to know where to go. All right, John, and then we're gonna push on to fun here. What do you think about fun? How much fun did you have?
I gave Trove a 1 out of 5. Definitively.
Yeah, you did.
I had more fun with this game. I don't know how much exactly more fun I had with this game. I'm gonna give it a 2 because it does get sluggish, especially in like levels 10 through 30. I think it feels very slow and kind of dog.
I give it a 3. I had a lot of fun. I laughed a lot. And I mean, I know like the game wasn't exactly trying to make me laugh, but I still laughed, and I think that that's fair. I don't know. Like, the game's it's very of its era. Like, I mean, it's like a lot of the character creation just screams like 2004, which is like, I mean, isn't exactly where it's from, but it's sort of what they were working with. And like, I don't know, like, I like the goofy, like, my character, when his idle animation is stupid and weirdly cocky for some reason, where he's like leaning back and sort of always nodding his head. Like, it made me giggle because in cutscenes he also looks like this. He's just standing next to Batman doing this. Like, I don't know. It made me laugh a lot, which I think that if that goes anywhere, it goes in fun.
Circling back to one bit, I do think that a lot of fun that I had for gameplay, I think that flying feels good. For the most part, I think super flying, the super speed flying kind of sucks because you'll get stuck on every wall everywhere, but like flying itself feels very good.
Yeah, I think I feel the opposite. I think super speed is like super disorienting. Because you walk up things, but then if anything has a roof, you walk up to the roof, and then the game like flips your controls randomly, it seems, or like when you stop forward momentum, and then it readjusts your controls, and then if you stop for too long, you just sort of fall to the ground again. I don't know. Super speed was crazy. Acrobatics was pretty fun, although it had a similar issue where like the weird like interaction with ceilings. But I thought acrobatics was widely cool as well. Acrobatics also was it was the only speed set that I saw that like you could kind of use in combat. There's like this grappling hook that you can just like sort of pull yourself straight out of combat, which was sick as fuck.
Yeah. Well, so we have one more thing to do. We have should you play it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think as far as my other MMO experiences, I'm gonna give this a pretty decent. If you have a lot of time, if you want a DC flavored MMO and you have some time, I think this is worthwhile.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I think like, yeah, if you're a comic book fan, or if you just have like a hero or a villain in your heart that you want to remake in a video game, I think that like largely this has the capacity to do it. I mean, you're gonna probably have to spend some money, but I mean, I don't know. There's one thing this game has in spades, and it is fucking content. There is so much shit to do in this game. You will not, like, I mean, I would argue it would take you longer to catch up than it is for them making new content. They're making new stuff faster than I think you could possibly beat the old stuff. So, yeah, if you've got a lot of time, there's a lot of game here. There's a lot of probably interesting dialogue and cool cutscenes and stuff like that we didn't really get to see. Sort of because of the nature of this video, the leveling was a little grueling, but once we got to Endgame, I think we thought it was pretty, and generally it was like,
Yeah.
it was like generally all right. I don't know. It was all right.
Once you hit 30, it clears up a lot. You can go wherever you want. You can do a lot of stuff. And,
Yeah.
like, there's a lot to see here. Genuinely.
Oh, and talking about population, there's also other people around, which is like crazy. A lot of games that are this old don't have anyone. I mean, there are at least like, I mean, God, we ran into like 2 groups of 10 at least that were fighting different world bosses and doing the daily quests and all the featured missions. Yeah, it's a time sink because I'll be honest with you, a lot of these missions are repeatable, but they're only repeatable if you use your replay badges to repeat them. And replay badges are an out-of-game currency that you just have to buy. But there are 2 of them up at once, and I assume both of them have suitable repeatable dailies. So that's like a couple, probably like 2 or 3 hours of dailies every day, and then you have a bunch of old content to sift through if you really like, you know, if you've really just got like a week off from work and just want to dump some time. I don't know. It's also on console, which is like also cool. I mean, you know, your dad can play this.